Welcome back to the Shrink Wrap Show. I'm your host, John. I'm here with Pam and Talia. And last time we talked about moments that shape us, the stories we tell ourselves about who we are. And now we're going to dive into, is this who I am?
That's a complicated one.
Yup.
So a lot of times, if we're going to therapy or we come to a place where we're realizing, hey, I've got some problems in my life. Does it come from somewhere, or is it just who I am? We might be just waking up to being in the weeds of all the stories we've told ourselves.
Yeah.
So what do you have to say about that?
Well,
Where do you
first
wanna
off, not everybody who comes to therapy wants to understand that, John. Sometimes people just want to be asymptomatic. Okay. They don't want to do the deep dive.
Yeah.
But if they do, then one of the things we're going to work on is figuring out or helping them understand that their behavior is coming out of their thoughts. So what I think will determine what I believe about myself, about the world, about others. And I'm going to have feeling states according to that. Mm-hmm. And then my behavior flows right out of that. That's the cognitive emotive loop. And so it kind of does go back to, this is what I think about myself based upon everything that's happened to me, everything that I've done to me, and how I took that in, how I perceived it, what meaning I made out of it. And so thought, belief, feeling, and here's my behavior.
And your behaviors have consequences, whether it's positive or negative. So how I react with you, how we respond together, is going to also shape our relationship and shape what we believe about ourselves too.
So let's say that I got kind of off track in terms of who I really, really, really was designed to be because I had some sort of painful, difficult, traumatic experience or multiple experiences, and I'm over here behaving a certain way. But in that behavior, I get reinforced. Mm-hmm. Well, that seems to work. I get a lot of attention behaving that way, as the outgoing, as the clown, as the quiet person, as the fun person, as the smart person, as the one who smiles all the time. Well, I can be, that positive reinforcement feels good.
Yeah.
So I may not even seek to figure out who I really am because this is working for me.
Yeah.
Until it doesn't.
So over time, behaviors becomes our identity, but behaviors often begin as adaptive strategies. And that's what Pam is saying here, is that we are trying to adapt something that is a core belief or core schema. And it's helped us before over time. And so we're going to continue to use those maladaptive behaviors to get what we want.
All right, so let's look at this from the other side of it. Someone kind of coming into it. So what's an example of behavior that people don't like about themselves, and they're maybe thinking, this is just how I am. It's my personality. This is me. What are just some common examples of negative behavior that people attribute to their personality instead of their story?
So I have clients come in who are acting very extroverted and outgoing, and it's exhausting to them. They're really an introvert. Mm-hmm. But in their family, they're the only one who is an introvert, and it doesn't work. They haven't been able to get attention. They haven't been able to get any accolades. They haven't been able to really fit or even join in conversation around the dinner table, if there is a dinner table these days, right? But so this is the only way they know to exist within the confines of the schema of their family system. And then it seems to work out there. So yeah, they kind of walk away and walk through life with, yeah, this is me, but there's an internal kind of something that builds up over time. I've seen it in the office that, yeah, I can't do this anymore. Something kind of seems to hit a wall at some point where something's off.
Yeah.
I'm exhausted. My energy's depleted. I feel like I'm not in my own skin, but I'm living someone else's truth about me. And that's where they begin to kind of do a search into self.
Yeah.
And a discovery of, and sometimes I help them with that. Sometimes a friend has said, it seems, but yeah, it's, hey, tell me what does feel more comfortable for you. Tell me how you got here.
I see it sometimes even in friend groups. I personal friend group experience, but like if I'm in a friend group on text message and they'll say, this is what's going on in my life. This is bad. This is bad. This is bad. And I have something bad going on in my life too, but I don't want to share it because I see that it's just feeding the negative. Then I throw in, this is something good that's happening. And
Toxic positivity.
It's that toxic positivity kind of thing. And like I do that because I don't want to get stuck into the rut of that negative headspace. And so that's a maladaptive behavior. And I recognize that as a maladaptive behavior. And instead of trying to soften the blow of everybody else's negativity, I jump in with something positive. And that's not healthy to do. And I recognize that. And as a therapist, I have to be like, okay, let's sit with, what is this? You're obviously telling me something. You want me to hear you. You want me to just listen. You don't want me to tell my positive or negative stuff. You want me to just be present with you. Right. And healthy people don't recognize that.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that I'm a healthy person because it's taken a long time for me to recognize that I have these maladaptive behaviors, but it takes work. It's a process of recognizing what your behaviors do. So,
I was just at a experiential retreat this whole weekend, and this is the first one in a long time I have not done, conducted. And so just sitting in the space of, I'm not leading, I'm participating, and no one knows me but one person here, and all kinds of things going through my head. I got to show up. I got to tell them I'm a doctor. I got to tell them I do this. and how to just sit and feel whatever I'm feeling at any given moment without having to be anything. Because I can actually tell this group of people who are strangers, I'm lonely in my marriage. I'm scared. I'm unhappy. I'm whatever I am. So it's that idea of walking into a situation and running through the playlist of, how am I supposed to be right now? How am I supposed to show up? How have I shown up in the past where I got attention and didn't feel that core schema of, I'm not part of this, I'm not going to be accepted, this won't work, I don't think they're going to like me. And I really had to stop and just decide, I'm just going to be present. And I'm just going to see whatever comes my way and whatever doesn't. I'm not going to try. I'm not going to try because all my life, a trier. I have to make sure they know that I'm worthy. I have to make sure they know that who I am. And it was, even at this point in life, you were continuing to grow and learn. And it was a powerful experience because I walked away saying, so there were about, 6 or 7 or 8 people I didn't even meet at all. And normally I'm not leaving the place until I meet every single person and can tell you 5 things about each one of them. So I just am still settling into who I originally was designed to be, that kind of got messed up by experiences and messages and misperceptions even, and expectations.
yeah.
Right? So as a therapist, for one thing, you're supposed to have it all together. And a lot of clients still believe that we are to be that person who doesn't really have life hit us. And that's not the case. If we're doing counseling for church, and we do, then I can't have an issue. I'm supposed to be not only a counselor, but spiritual. So
have to have everything put together, wrapped up in a bow.
So kind of putting out a version of ourselves that is an expected version.
Yeah.
And that's just a lot of energy.
Now, what about more like reactive behavior, like conflict and fights? Does that come from core schema?
Yes, it does. One that I see that is I would say this is more related to most people that have been in domestic violence situations. They're looking for that push pull of the relationship, and so what they're doing is we get into this everything's okay, and then they have tension build up, and then from there a blow up happens. And there's some kind of dopamine release that happens with that. There's excitement with it. And the person that's chronically activated seeks those kind of behaviors.
Because it doesn't feel safe
because
to feel non-activated.
Exactly.
Well, and what we see in alcoholic homes, I grew up in an alcoholic home, what I learn is you need to be quiet, have no voice, have no needs. And oftentimes, let's get the fight out of the way. And so the child will learn to incite an incident. And taking that into a relationship later on, they'll keep doing the same thing in an intimate relationship. So yeah, creating chaos. Let's get the argument out of the way. That's the only way I then know how to find peace on the other side of it. So taking those patterns of behavior into my adult relationships, friendships too.
Yeah.
Not just an intimate relationship.
Yeah.
All right. Me and my wife have done some self-diagnosing, in the absence of therapy.
Isn't
or
everyone?
in the absence of time or money for therapy or whatever it may be.
Because
And-
AI is free.
Yeah, can AI be our therapist? So I'll give you an example and let me know if any of this is relevant, if it's on the money, if it's slightly off.
Okay.
All right.
I'll take your money.
Even if you're off.
This is actually just my attempt at getting free therapy.
Okay.
We know. We're on to you.
From the
Episode
beginning.
1.
This whole podcast is just, I record everything. I watch it back so many times. See the way they looked at me when I asked
Cognitive
that?
repetition, they said.
Okay, so here's a pattern we've noticed. It's not the pattern, it's a pattern, and in conflict, we've had knockdown, drag out fights before, right?
You
So-
have to report that, right?
She knocked me down.
We still have to report that.
Okay, so here's something that can happen. This sounds silly, but it becomes a thing. So, from what I understand, I must have something called misophonia. I've Googled this a ton of times. And what this is it's an auditory stimulation problem. I don't know if it's considered a disorder or whatever, but basically, I hear very well, and things bother me when I hear them. So, and this isn't just like, oh, nails on the chalkboard, I don't like that sound. This is like my nervous system is reacting
Yes,
to
yes,
certain
yes.
noises. So, the first time I remember this was my brother, who I didn't get along with very well growing up, eating chips.
Oh, yes.
And my
Yes.
sisters did not like him, and they would always kind of criticize him. There was tension there, right? Maybe some disgust thrown his way, just differences. Disgust is a big word, but it's
Contempt.
Sure, the most accurate
Annoyance.
word. Yeah, and so I don't know if it was a learned thing or just a born with thing, but I couldn't stand someone sitting there and eating chips. And the first thing I remember was my brother doing it. And I don't know if it's because I didn't like him. But now, Brittany, my wife, doesn't mind if I eat something like cereal or chips around her. We can watch a movie and I can do that. She's fine. But if she does it because she knows I hate it, it's not just like, hey, can you not do that? It's like, how dare you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you are the worst person in the world. How can you? And I have to fight feelings of like contempt. Like, it almost gets me from everything's fine to like, this person in front of me is awful.
Your limbic system is activated by this person. Yeah.
If
it's
a
extreme.
neighbor down the road is blaring their radio and Brittany can't hear the bass, she's like, I don't hear anything. And I'm like, I hear this thumping.
Yes,
It's 9
yes,
o'clock
yes.
at night. Who do they think they are? Like, I'm going to go down there and she's like, you're going to get shot if you go down there and confront them,
Yeah.
But it brings
It's
up
a
this
real
reaction.
thing. It's a real thing.
So that's that. And what that does to her is she will take that as criticism. And from her background, with her parents or employers or other relationships, she'll have a strong negative response to critique or control, especially from authority. And I'm not her authority, but
Right, you're
it
an authority
sounds
figure
like
in
that.
that
Head of
moment.
the house.
Yep.
Sure, but it'll sound like that because we're in a relationship
Right.
that isn't easily escapable, right? It's like a familial
Yeah.
relationship. So to me, I respond negatively, and then she responds negatively.
In like
Right.
Yeah.
tone,
Right.
yes.
And so that's kind of the cycle we recognize, that we're just feeding into each other's problems, and it's not really the problem isn't really the problem, Hers, clearly, it's like, oh, I can see that's connected to your story. Like, you experience things. Mine, I don't know if it's like just something's wrong with me, like,
Yeah.
I mean, people have sensory processing issues, and it can be very hypersensitive.
Yeah.
As this case, I have had clients with this. I've had kids come in and say, I hate my mom. She chews so loud. I will not eat at the table with her. And it isn't that they hate their mom necessarily. It's in association with hearing that sound of chewing. Or for sensory processing, I have such an issue with the blinker in the car.
Oh, yeah.
I cannot do the blinker in the car. And I told my husband, I need you to depersonalize this. When I say, please don't turn the blinker on, there's not a dang car in sight. It's midnight. We do not need to let anybody know which direction we're going. He gets so offended even still. And I said, this is not something I can control, especially if I'm tired. It makes me want to hurt someone. It's a real thing.
It is.
And
I
bright lights,
experience it too.
She's
bright
hurt
lights
you?
when people are tired.
Yeah.
And have sensory, can't do that. I was in the Apple store the other day for 3 straight hours. So let's just talk about that. LED lights. A world that I do not understand, and I hadn't eaten. It was a recipe for homicide.
We had a similar situation in Belize, remember?
Yes, we did.
In the car, I was like, I just need silence.
And granted, just for listeners, this is different than like today we went to the opening ceremonies for my son's baseball, league. And they had someone sing the national anthem. And instead of just singing the national anthem, they did every note in the known universe, right?
Oh, fun.
Right? Like, to me, that's like
Look
just-
at me.
yeah, it's
Just
like
sing the
instead
song.
of honoring veterans and America and the country that, has freedom, it's like honor me. And that's like a very clear, like, I'm annoyed, or that's like a
Yes,
pet peeve.
on
right?
on a units of distress level, that's a 5.
Right.
Versus
so that
the
falls under like
chips.
pet peeve. And then we're not talking about pet peeves. We're talking about reactions that seem to be part of who you are, that you have no control over, you know.
Right.
And I
you
really
don't think
do
you have
think
control over
that
it.
science would bear out that reaction can be either connected with previous stimuli, right? Or just I have a hypersensitivity to certain sounds, certain smells, certain textures.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't be a spectrum disorder per se, but it would be a sensory processing issue. I can't handle that feeling on my skin.
Yeah.
I can't stand that sound.
So the ownership for me is I have to, not just expect that people cater to me. I have to take control and say, if I can't change this about myself, I have to make another plan,
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
there are people at church who have issues with this, and they wear headphones
Yep.
to not, they can't do it.
They
I'm not
adapt
going to wear
themselves.
headphones at the dinner table.
Yeah.
but
No, I know.
but you
I might
may-
take 5 minutes to
And
calm
then
myself.
depersonalizing for the other person.
Right.
If Don would just say, this is not about me and how I put the blinker on, and I'm a responsible person, and you should put blinkers on in cars. That's what the DMV says. He goes into a whole tirade about how we're violating the law, and now I'm just annoyed about that as well as being annoyed about it's midnight, there's no one. And also, the light's been red for a long time, so let's just go. Now you're not going to break the law. So it's a real thing. And, depersonalization is so powerful. They're not doing this to me. This is not about me.
The blinker thing, Okay, when you say, okay, the blinker automatically makes me feel angry. And then I express that, and then he's like, we're breaking the law. And now you're angry at the breaking the law thing. I feel like I'm putting I'm angry at your breaking the law rules. And that's more of like a conscious personal choice of like, I don't like that about you. But the other thing was it was just almost a physical reaction.
Yes.
Right.
So is that coming from a past experience? Is that
Yes.
coming from your story?
For me, I can't find anything connected to that. It's simply it's repetitive and I cannot stand it.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only with misophonia, if that's what it even is.
That's it.
The only
Right, it
thing I
is.
can think of for me is that I grew up in a chaotic household, and somehow something that I can't control, or or whether it's a pattern that's not repeatable, or it is a repeatable pattern. Therefore, I'm like, shut up, like
Yeah.
you
I
can't
didn't
go to
have any
sleep
control
because
back
you hear
then,
the
but I
dripping faucet, and you know it's going to come,
Yes.
and you get anxious about hearing the next one.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know. So I can't psychoanalyze myself. But that's kind of a silly example that Brittany and I have kind of recognized. But what about the person who they read an email like, hey, can we have a meeting at 3? And their instant reaction is, oh my gosh.
This
the
is
I'm
world
getting
is
tired.
ending.
This is exactly how I felt on Wednesday.
Or
I mean, that's that piece about how my brain will go out there into the future and search out all the possible meanings that the meeting at 3 might have, because I will predict a catastrophized something, and then I'll be lonely, rejected, isolated, whatever. So I've got to protect myself. And so we want to mitigate those kind of situations for people. We have a meeting at 3 to talk about the new budget. No worries, like set someone's mind at ease whenever you can.
But sometimes they can't do that.
Sometimes they can't.
Yeah.
Right.
And I mean, that was triggering for me, guys. Thanks. But no, it really is. I felt my heart beating.
when I said that,
Yes.
and it wasn't even for you. I was just giving an example.
No, but that really happened this week. So, and the visceral response that I had during that initial email was like, oh crap, I've got to plan on
Where's my resume?
Where's my resume? I need to talk to Pam. We've got to go figure out a different thing for me to find work.
So
all
why
these
did you?
things.
Why was that your response? Was it
Because of past experiences of emails and meetings like that, and
at that same workplace?
not at that same workplace, but at other workplaces,
Yeah.
and other people's experiences of getting emails just like that, and what I already knew what was going to happen. Like I already knew what was semi going to happen.
You knew enough.
I knew
and
enough.
not enough. Yeah.
I knew enough, but not enough. And so inside, like my whole system was saying, oh shit. Like you've got to protect yourself. And so ultimately my supervisor calls me and they're also having the same response. And I was like, okay, we got to stop right now and take some deep breaths in because we really don't know what's actually about to happen.
Right.
We have to take a step back and just look at it. If this happens, this is our next step. If this happens, okay, we're going to work through it. We're going to be okay.
And that's bringing that limbic system back
The wise
online.
brain.
Let me get my wise brain, my wise mindedness, and go into solution mode.
Yes.
And predicting or telling myself, and you'll be okay.
Yes.
We'll figure this out, whatever it is.
Yep. But I say
Which is important.
it took my supervisor, we're actually really, really good friends. It took my supervisor calling me and hearing her fear response. I could hear it in her voice for me to say, okay, I'm not alone in this. We need to co-regulate pretty much. So we
What is co-regulate? What does that look like?
well, over the phone, I just told her, I said, let's just take some deep breaths in. We don't know exactly what's going on. Go take some deep breaths. Go get a drink of water. We prayed together over the phone. And afterwards, we both felt a peace and calm.
So there was a part about I'm not alone.
I'm not
Someone
alone.
else is like me in this somehow. And then here's how we can calm down our limbic system.
So those mirror neurons, even though we couldn't see each other, we can hear each other's voice. We're still able to have that sensory processing of I can hear you, you see me, even though you're hearing me.
But you can
But
feel
you
seen
can-
even
you
if
can
you're
feel
not.
seen
Yeah.
because someone's listening.
All right.
So
Okay, how about this? The person who is annoyed at their mom for the way she chews that you mentioned.
yeah,
Fine. What about the person who constantly fights with their mom and they don't know why? They want to love their mom. They want to have a good day. And 5 minutes in, it's just World War III and it never changes. What's the difference between this is just who I am? This is just who she is. We just don't get along. What's the difference between that? There's something about me. I'm bringing baggage into this neutral-ish relationship, and this relationship has history that's unresolved.
I mean,
well, our relationships shape how we behave with one another. They ultimately do. So if you have a negative experience with someone constantly over time, then you're going to continuously have that behavioral response. I say that because at any time that I'm with specific people in my family, I typically have a more reactive approach to how I talk to them.
Very diplomatic.
Yes. Whereas whenever I'm with people I feel more comfortable with in my family, I am more relaxed and can be assertive.
Family's weird because a lot of your story that is shaping your, your behavior or your story, whatever, circular talk here.
Yeah.
A lot of your story that shapes your story
Yeah.
is probably around your family.
yeah, and
So-
that's when you're in an intimate relationship, stuff's going to come up. It's where things get worked out, but it's also the origin of things.
Yeah.
So what's so difficult about that kind of situation is there's likely some unresolved stuff, and I'm walking into the relationship already anticipating there's going to be a problem here. And we haven't resolved, and you never came back around to correct this. And I'm constantly engaged in an effort, even if it's a maladaptive way, to have a corrective experience, to have a different outcome.
So not
It's
only
the
is the relationship dynamic having a consistent history of negative patterns, but then you also, especially if it is your parents or something, there's a good chance that you never learned that the only way you've been taught to your survival and reaction methods are already skewed. You're not bringing,
You already got a bend.
yeah,
Yeah.
You're not
Yeah.
bringing like a
An
healthy version of
openness
you.
and healthy version of you, and
Or
an
a-
openness and a possibility of, hey, you know what? Maybe this can be different. Maybe my change can bring change in them. You also have a system of relating that you've been maintaining over lots of years where there's a power differential. And now as you're more an adult child,
Yeah.
listen, we're on equal footing now, but then there's the respect piece, and there's a whole, it's complicated, but
That's- Oh no, go ahead.
there has to be an openness to allow for the possibility of success and healing and change. Otherwise, I'm again, my brain, hey, you better beware, be careful here.
Yeah.
You
Her lids flip, my lids
my
flip.
lids flipped, and we're both, yeah. And co-regulation, when Talia was saying co-regulation before, simply means that I have to regulate if I'm dysregulated, I need someone else who's calm to help regulate my system. And I'm going to borrow it from them until I can get it myself.
Yeah.
They might have to show me by simply having a calm demeanor, breathe with me, walk with me, talk with me, and do those S's that we talked about: soothe, safe, secure,
Scene.
seen.
This, I think, is a good place to stop because now we're about to get into the territory of if we recognize things that we're doing that may have, a history to it, or we're recognizing, hey, I don't have control of this yet. Mm-hmm. What we want to get into next is, what do we do now?
Okay.
Yeah. What's our next
Good.
step?
Good.
Yeah.
Next steps are good.
All right.
Yeah. So identifying those patterns first,
Right.
and then now we can solve the problem.
Okay. Well, I'm excited to solve everyone's problems.
Yeah, right.
We'll end the podcast after the next episode. 'Cause
Yes.
it's all over. All right. Thanks for joining us. As always, please like, share, subscribe, anything you can to help the channel. We want to help others, and we want to know what you think. Please comment below and let us know what you want us to talk about, or ask questions, and we'll try to answer them. Until next time, have a great one.